Hello? I think I need to change my view. One moment, please. There we go. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. July 24th every year is International Self-Care Awareness Day. So today I want to spend a little bit of time talking about kind of stuff that I always talk about, but it's there's never usually a whole day dedicated to it. So self-care is sometimes it's separate than the other care that you have to do. Maybe you're in a post-surgery care situation, or maybe you have lymphedema or lipedema care. Someone I interviewed years ago eloquently explained to me, everyone should be doing self-care, but some of you that are dealing with chronic conditions, managing symptoms, there's the care on top of the care. So I wanted to acknowledge that for those of you that can relate to that. Rambling for a few minutes here just to make sure that I am live, and I am. Okay. Give me 2 seconds here. If you are joining me today, I want to interact with you today. I'd love to know if self-care is actually something you even practice regularly. Not everyone does. It's hard to talk fluidly and type at the same time. But self-care is, it's part of investing in your long-term physical and mental health. It's not all, and if you're taking care of the physical, sometimes the mental is better as well. So we all know the lectures, there's lots of different reasons to be mindful about our care, but certain times of year, seasons, maybe you got some different activities going on in your life. We're not always mindful about doing it on a regular basis. And many of you, from my experience, think of self-care, as this routine thing that has to be done in a certain way every day, or there's no benefit. And, this time of year comes summer. It's summer where I'm at in the big land of Canada, but there are, different things that maybe I use for my self-care this time of year than I might be using in November or December when it's winter. So some of you may be laughing because I've got a sauna set up and it's about 28 degrees Celsius here today. But sometimes self-care, even though it's a beautiful day and I'd love to be out walking in the grass and absorbing the natural vitamin D that I'm exposing myself to, sometimes we work 9 to 5, or sometimes by the time you get home, the weather's changed. And, self-care should be a few different things, things that make you, self-care is about taking those proactive steps that hopefully will just become a part of your lifestyle if you're doing them regularly to protect your health and your well-being overall. That is separate and different than chronic care. So many of you that are dealing with symptoms and managing things, it's stressful. It adds a different layer to the mental health. And, you're still a person. You're not the condition that you have. That's just the label on your forehead today. So I want you to make sure, even if you can't get to the chronic care, the stuff you're supposed to be doing, do something that makes you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel good. Practice what makes you feel good. A lot of times if you're moving and feeling better, some of the things that we're supposed to be doing are a little bit more tolerable. So whether it's a walk out in nature that you enjoy, maybe you've got some activities that you play at the park, or some sports that you might play. Maybe it's a hot bath with some good tunes and a nice glass of wine. Do something that makes you feel good. And try something new. I sort of was touching there about the variety of, things that you can do. I've got a few examples of my faves here, as I always do. But, try something new. Self-care, just like exercise, very often gets stagnant. Sometimes the reason you're not doing it is things aren't getting worse, but they're not improving. Stress levels are still there, or so sometimes it's a matter of doing a different form of self-care. Maybe you're doing exercise. Well, maybe you want to try some meditation or some breathing exercises. Maybe it's just a new recipe that you saw online that you thought was cool. Put that energy into something else. The distraction, the creative skills of trying something new, might be, maybe it's just a change that you need. Focus on the physical. I've already talked about that. Focusing on physical health is not only going to make your quality of being able to perform your daily tasks more likely, but I also mean we're going to try and eat right, eat good things that nourish our body to support those activities. You want to make sure you're giving yourself adequate rest, recovery, from your activities, those types of things. It's important when you are doing the exercises and the self-care stuff, if your body's not getting good sleep or good quality sleep, those changes aren't implemented as effectively on our physical body. And one of the big things I'd love to give you, which is kind of a little bit hypocritical right now because I'm coming to you live through Facebook, but take a tech break. Many of us are becoming very involved in our electronic life and the conveniences and the entertainment side of it. And a lot of us, there are biological effects. We read about blue light. We are an electrical being. And one of the best things you can do for your self-care, I'm busy too. And I've always got my phone on me in case somebody's banging me or I've got to answer a question. But, make time every day to get away from it. And I always suggest the best time, if possible, is when you are in your rest or your sleep period. Put your phone in airplane mode. Turn your wireless router off for the night. Just give your body a break from the technology. Don't be watching a 50-inch screen TV till 2 minutes before you go to bed and expect that the light may not do a little something with your circadian rhythm, your sleep patterns, those type of things. So if you don't want to do the research on those things, just, pay attention to how your body feels. Try something new. So if you have to have your phone beside you and it's your alarm clock and you have to have it right there, that's fine. But maybe just try turning it off in airplane. The alarm will still work. And just, give your body a little bit of less exposure that we accumulate throughout the course of the day. So a few tools I wanted to focus on today for self-care. Self-care in the form of the physical, if you're in pain and you're lacking energy and you're constipated all the time, it's hard, to be happy and have good mental health. So I'm kind of going to break the benefits down into both the physical and mental health, but know how impactful the physical health is on the mental, as is the mental. If we're doing the meditation, we're being mindful about taking those mental breaks, our focus, all of those things, apply to our physical tolerance, the stuff we're supposed to be doing physically. So I've got a couple of examples here today. I am playing again with the new Vibra Pulse, the smallest of smallest models that Lifepro has come out with. This is not what I would consider a workout machine. Today is about International Self-Care Day. So considering many of you use a vibration plate, the reason that you sought it out or you are using it, sometimes it's fitness, sometimes it's feel good. Self-care is just as much fitness as it is feel good. So I know I'm going to get some questions on that one. But for me, when I'm doing, let's say, self-care, and I'm doing it with my vibration plate, usually I'm combining my vibration plate use with something else. So I'm sitting and I'm catching up on my emails, or, maybe I'm into a show or a movie or something like that. What I like about this new little model, there's never the perfect machine for every application or use. I, of course, like my larger, heavier models for my exercise. I'm putting more effort forth. And, this, hang on, I just hit the wrong button again. I was on my Rumblex Plus too much last week. So now hang on. There. So the Vibra Pulse is ultra compact. So, it's that time of year where it's nice outside and I want to sit in the sunshine. So I've hauled this up onto the deck. The first week I had it, I did a session on the deck. So, maybe I'm sitting there watching my dogs and my kids play in the yard. But I wanted, my legs are feeling heavy. I've got some, 2 baby varicose veins and things that I could be doing for my own self-care. I tend to focus a little bit too much on the fitness although I am getting self-care while I'm doing that as well. This is a good way for me to just stop. I like putting my feet at a mid speed. I'm about hip width apart. I like to angle my feet a little bit and let the knees kind of fall out, and this is just my thing because my knee's been tight the last couple of days. And just to get some blood and some circulation going. I've talked about this in the last couple sessions that I've done. We as ladies, a lot of our tension or our stress at the end of the day is presented in the nape of our neck, the shoulders, that upper back, the bra strap, all those things that are, between the bra and the purse and the lifting and the turning, the typing, the mousing. There's all these reasons we develop tension here. So I like to, there's different variations of this, but I'll come over after about a minute and a half. I'll put my elbows on there. And, if you're like me, I sometimes have a tough time stopping and relaxing. Go. I'm always the Energizer bunny. And then by the time the end of the day comes and the dishes are cleaned up and everything's put away, I often put my feel-good stuff, my Debby stuff aside. I do have a couple of favorite items that I do use regularly that I'll be talking about today. But when it comes to vibe, it's warmer. I've been playing with this new model in different places in my house. And, if this is all that you have from Lifepro and are using now, sometimes I underplay the feel good or the wellness benefits because we're all so focused on the osteoporosis or the atrophy or the cost. Sometimes we get so focused on the physical benefits. We don't think about just how good you feel after you have a couple of minutes. And the feel good on these machines for me is about a 2 to 3 minute, maybe 5. It's not a big 10, 15 minute session. I plan on doing other things. I got to make dinner yet, getting my mom from the airport tonight. So I know if I do too much, I'll want to get into a workout or I'll just, want to go to bed. So up to 5 minutes. If you're dealing with any circulatory issues, you're trying to strengthen the lower legs, you can certainly just add some slight movement, whatever feels good. If you're doing any chair-based yoga or exercises, it's a great way to accomplish that. The other thing that I've really been enjoying about this new model in particular, and yes, I know it's out of stock. They will get more. Don't worry. The new electromuscular stimulation feature. My kid works early. He's an electrician. He's out of the house by about 5 in the morning. If I'm sitting upstairs on the sofa watching my programs and hanging with my daughter in the evening, my son is in the basement and trying to sleep. And we just have one of those loud houses. So I've been using the new electromuscular stimulation. It's silent. You don't hear anything. There's no movement. It's not a vibration plate movement. It's a different option. It's a different therapy incorporated in the surface of the plate. And there's different intensity levels. I've just got it in manual level 1 right now. I've been doing a lot of walking, a lot of lifting. My feet are a little swollen and it just kind of feels like a little very mild pins and needles. I like a little higher. So I'm going to bring mine up to 2 and I feel it more. It does. It feels like static electricity. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm good about low to mid, but what you'll notice more once you get higher up in the settings on this, it pulses. Vibra pulse. That's where the pulse comes from. So it pulses for about a 5-second period, takes a breather. Pulses for 10. It varies, like your vibration movement programs. It varies up how long, how fast, those type of things, what it's mixing in. With this, you can run oscillating movement, just like any other vibration plate. So it's a great compact that way. It's awesome for seated use. I prefer when I'm using the electromuscular stimulation, when you're moving, you're not keeping continuous, evenly distributed weight contact on your feet. So you feel it, but I find using it with just itself, just the electromuscular stimulation, I feel it more densely through my feet up into my ankles. If I crank it up to about 3 or 4, which is almost a little too intense for me, unless I've been doing other things, I feel it like all the way up my calves. And you can do, add some movement if you want, if you're feeling a little stiff. But I think this is a really great way for those of you that are on this end of the self-care and you are dealing with chronic issues as well. And, you want a vibration plate, but you're not quite there yet. You're caring for yourself and the strength just ain't what it used to be. This is a great seated model, a little light standing, but I wouldn't recommend this for like working out. So, there's reasons people have a couple of different machines. The smaller a machine gets, the lighter, the tippier it's going to be. So if you do plan long term, getting into push-ups and squats and planks and some of these things, you want to have a somewhat of a solid base as part of the equation. So you may consider a waiver or step up to a rumblex or something down the road. But know that if you do select this as an entry level or a starting level oscillating vibration plate, it's equally awesome as this electromuscular stimulation therapy. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Similar to the TENS treatments, many of you may have traded or tried the pads. Much more surface to work with here. So I'll move on from vibration plates. What I also like about this little model, for those of you that are looking for more direct upper body stimulation, I mean, come on, you can put it on the coffee table. You can put it on the kitchen table. It's not like when people ask me, oh, can I put my Relax-A-Vibe on my sofa table? Well, maybe. What's your sofa table made out of? Because that thing's like 47 and change pounds. So again, never one application for every machine that's going to fit everybody. This is a great, you can move it around. Maybe you want it by the bed when you get up in the morning. Maybe you want to put your arms on it. Maybe you're dealing with some neuropathy in the hands and the arms, and you just don't have the range of motion to get down there yet. This is a great option for that. And of course, for those of you that travel and all those wonderful things. So keep an eye. This will be back in stock soon. So I'm going to turn that off. Other things I want to talk about, and I always struggle, I've been saying in my self-care sessions lately, back in the day when Lifepro had 3 or 4 different technologies, it was easy to do a 5-minute session and get into some conversation. But now there's so many different ones. I just want to check in here. I forgot to make sure hello, Debbie, on the train heading home. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Connie. If you are joining me, one thing I'd love to do today, for those of you that are joining me, I see there's a fair number of you here now. I want you to share your care. And I made these cheesy graphics and I posted in the event today. But if you're doing something now that's worked particularly well for you, whether you're using a vibration plate tool, other Lifepro tools, or you're just doing some manual things on your own, share. That's what I love about these lives is sometimes you connect with not only other people and tools you never thought about, but ideas. So share your care. If you're doing something now that worked for you, if you tried something that didn't work for you, this type of feedback is invaluable. And if you are using Lifepro tools, I'm not talking your workout and your bone density or your 15-minute weight loss session. Self-care. What's the feel good, the nice stuff that you guys are doing, and what tools are your faves at home? A lot of times I feel, I know what I like and my tolerances and my preference, but sometimes people have completely different tolerance and preference than I do. So share your care. And make a comment if you're currently managing, some symptoms. It's different than self-care. Self-care is you as an individual taking care of your overall health, which we all know is better for us. But fitness aside, what's your favorite Lifepro product? What's working for you? Sometimes it's how you're using it. So let's move on to how you're using it. Massage guns. I haven't been talking about these enough. I kind of got distracted with all my sexy new red light options. Massage guns can be a great tool for many of the same reasons you love vibration plates. But just like a vibration plate, it's how you apply the tool. So many of you that are, low tolerance, you're dealing with a chronic issue, you have, poor grip strength, things like that. You could never imagine using a massage gun and it being, like a self-care thing. Like obviously we think about tension and that. But it also, because it vibrates, just by hanging on to your massage gun, it's a great way to begin building grip strength, hand strength. We're not talking fitness today, but to enable you not only to use the gun more effectively as you grow, but just by hanging on to it, it's going to give you that circulation, that lymphatic movement. It's going to improve sensation, if you're dealing with Raynaud's or neuropathy or those types of things. So think about that. maybe a vibration plate, a little one, and putting it on the table isn't your cup of tea, or you've already got a vibration plate and you just wanted to get something different. Here's the trick with a massage gun, and I'm going to come right close. So this is the Sonic Plus. No, this is the regular Sonic. I'm going to, just like a vibration plate, speed it up. Less time, more speed. So think, okay, this one is in low. I'm going to bring it up to about a mid speed there, you see? Okay. So instead of, how on the machine I'm always saying wider is more action, closer is less action. Similar methodology with a vibration or a massage gun. If your starting point is in the skin and you're pushing hard and it's bouncing all over and you're concerned you may have bruising after, why are you applying so much pressure? The amount of movement that the tip of a massage gun moves is called amplitude as well. How far it's moving each time it's moving. So if you're sensitive, and if for self-care, for those of you that are dealing with lymphatic issues, you want to stimulate those vessels just under the skin surface. It's not about beating yourself up black and blue. You can get there if you like that kind of thing. But keep the gun away from away from the skin. And then just once you feel it sort of just skimming, it doesn't look like it's touching my skin, but you can hear. Okay, you can hear, and just let the gun do the work. It's skimming the surface, okay, as opposed to, beating you up. Skim the surface, work in circles. So, if you, maybe you got a really achy, frozen shoulder, and you can't even reach it, just hold it ever so gently, right? Both hands on it. And then they're getting benefit at the same time. Lifepro has come out with, and I have a customer trying it out right now. There is a massage gun extender. Very brilliant item. So, if you're unable to do things like this, there's an attachment that you can use to leverage this and massage yourself. So that's a good add-on to have with this one. But, keep your durations short. Maybe try it for a quick minute or two. Try a different body part. I've been having a big old hip issue here. And it almost feels tender on the skin surface, but I know it's not on the skin surface. So I do kind of like this little, I'm going around a circle, and then I go into the middle, and I work my way back out. And then after about a minute or two of light, I crank it up even faster, smoother, less pounding. And I just sort of hold it. Oh, right where I feel it hurts, that tight spot. And instead of moving around, I'm just pressing ever so slightly into that spot. But I warmed it up very softly with just a barely. So like I say, you can barely see it touching my skin. I'm letting the gun come to my arm. Whereas here I'm starting at my arm. You see the difference? Letting the gun come to my arm. And you decide how much intensity you're applying to your body. Just like this is on a vibration plate when you're wide. This is wide. You're making your arm take the entire movement of that massage gun head. Let it out a bit and just let it skim the surface. And I think you'll find your sensitivity improves very, very quickly to that. Just my little tip, massage guns. And right now, I've been pulling weeds outside in the garden. My hands are tingling, right? Well, what happens when you start using your vibration plate or you haven't used it in a while? The tingle comes back. So for those, I'm curious, most people here that I'm seeing that have made comment, I know are using massage guns or have at least tried one. So that's just my tip. I deal with a lot of skin surface and lymphatic issues with my clients. And they can never, we all visualize there's this stigma with massage guns that you have to have this poor experience where it's beating the crap out of you and you're black and blue the next day. Absolutely. It's how you apply the tool. So that one I'm going to put down. The next one I'm going to move on to is kind of a combination, a little crossover. We're going to talk about light therapy. So self-care, light therapy kind of has, some similar benefits to physical therapies like the vibration plate, the gun. But red light and infrared light, they bring their own set of benefits. And a lot of what I want you to start thinking about as I choke you with more and more ideas, it really, there's no one perfect tool. I want you to visualize, you know what your issues are or what you'd like to target. What do you visualize yourself using regularly? It's not always the most expensive top of the line tool. Sometimes it's it's smaller, more compact, more affordable tools, and maybe a couple of them so you can mix it up, or maybe, you want to do some time at the office. So the belts, so the Aleva Red, and there's a whole different series depending on whether you want a battery. There's now accelerated treatment time ones where you don't have to use them as long. These are I personally, a lot of people are asking me, oh, like, do you like the new belt? Because it is reduced treatment time. The new belts with the attachable batteries are like 10-15 minutes, because the diodes themselves are of a higher intensity. You don't need to use them as long. Me personally, when I'm doing my belt or my PEMF mat, which is my all day, every day, I use that thing. I like my half hour or my 20 minutes. I like a long session because it forces me to stop for a little bit longer. So, but some of you are short on time, or maybe you're combining treatments, and it really depends on your lifestyle and how it best incorporates into that calendar of your 9 to 5. So the biggest difference between the existing belts is the diode. So the new Pro models with the attachable batteries that come with them, they are a higher intensity diode. There's 2 red light diodes, or 2 red lights and 1 infrared chip in each little bulb. Whereas these, there's half infrared, half red light, and you can extend your treatment time. And that's an important thing to consider. If this is a relaxation session, you're probably looking for longer durations. And with your belts, I like the versatility. A lot of my guys, I would say probably the number one reason my guys are using belts is the low back. This way, some of them get it right down onto the hips. There's a healthy, and surprisingly, for as many animals as I have in the house, I'm impressed that I never have fur on the Velcro. That'll mean something to many of you. I'm going to go like this. And now my hip, I said has been bugging me. Right? So that's right around the hip. I can make dinner. There's a difference between ones with battery packs and one with cords. You can buy a separate battery pack. There's a pocket on here somewhere. That's what this little pocket is for. Maybe you're putting your phone or your tablet or something in there. But the Aleva Red, you get infrared and you get red light. From a self-care perspective, red light is an awesome tool for boosting mitochondria function. So whatever your body's trying to do or fix or whatever, those worker cells are going to be able to perform their function more optimally. So that's a commonly scientific reason people like red light. Red light it's also very soothing. It does a good job on skin surface. And, maybe you've got some lesions you're trying to heal from before you can get back to the gym and do some sweating. For a lot of mine that are folks that are dealing with lymphatic issues, as I said, this is awesome skin surface, not only for lymphatic, but swelling, all these things that create pain and tension, from those symptoms. Another area, and the other reason I love using the belt is my shoulder, my screwed up shoulder. So I put it around this way. I bring the attached part across the girls, and I bring the Velcro edge down so it's at a 90 degree. And then I do it depends on if I'm sitting or standing, but then I hit the shoulder on both sides and the front, and I can still, I know I should be taking a break, or I can chop dinner. So that's another awesome way. And lately, because it's so warm during the day, I've been just laying it down on in bed. So I'm going, I lay this down and I cover from here to here. And I just give my full spine and my neck. This edge comes up a little bit onto my pillow. You're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion, as I always say. So red light belts are always a good choice, not only for self-care, but if you're dealing with something medically, perhaps you're recovering from something. Maybe you travel lots and you can't take a full-size sauna with you. Actually you can with the new Revivify. When I practiced too, and I still screwed up the name. So let's move on here. Infrared, of course, is that soothing, warm, little bit deeper healing heat. And so the belts come with infrared, and they're a really good tool, whether they're kind of a crossover between wellness, the self-care stuff, and the fitness piece. So while you're, maybe using the belt to recover, and from the time at the gym because you overlifted maybe, it's making you feel better. It's boosting your mitochondria function. It's boosting your mood. So, some of these tools, maybe you're using them as a fitness complement, a warm up and a recovery. That's a great way to incorporate more self-care time because of the benefits associated with these types of products. So let's step a little side specifically to infrared. This is the new steam sauna. Okay, it's very groovy. It's got a little chair, which I'm just remembering I forgot to set up inside of it. This comes with its own carrying bag. I'm 5'10", so it's going to fit in pretty much anybody's house. And it's just PCV pipes that come. I had this thing together in 10 minutes. By the time I called my husband and my kids to come help me put it together, I already had it together. So if I can do it by myself, so can you. This is a steam sauna. So this is what I like about this, particularly as a sauna for this time of year. I don't last long in it. Steam, I don't last nearly as long as I do infrared. And there seems to be a lot of respiratory crap going around this time of year. So there's a steam generator that plugs into regular wall out that you can use some of your essential oils in it if that's the way you want to go. But I like this because me personally, I get it going for about 2 to 3 minutes, let the steam build up. I did a session on this one a couple of weeks ago, and I filled the whole room when I opened the door to get into it. It literally, I can't make it 8-9 minutes, and I'm dripping. Yes, I know obviously some of it is the steam accumulating on me, but I'm noticing how clean my pores feel afterwards, how smooth my skin feels. And it's a great way if you are working on other goals or you're doing other self-care, this is a great way to finish. And with my sauna, usually, I sleep well, but I don't allow myself enough sleep at times. So when I'm out of my full body sauna, when I say full body sauna, that means my head is out. When in or out. When I'm out, I don't find it wipes me out as much. Maybe it's because I'm breathing the room air temperature. My head isn't in. When I'm in Lifepro's box sauna, this new steam one, the outdoor sauna, I've tried them all. I get to that body temp. I max out much quicker when I'm completely enclosed. That's probably a logical thing. But this thing, like 8-9 minutes, I planned after my session last time so that I could just sneak into it afterwards. And I didn't last 3 minutes. So it's not going to be a huge drain at all on the power bill. And it's really cool because you could take it apart. Maybe you've got a cabin. You could even set this up as long as you've got regular power. You could even take it camping with you. Like, it's ultra compact. If you really, if you're that type of person where the self-care is that regime, it's something you're doing every day and you're using a sauna now, this would almost be like the portable box sauna. I really am enjoying this product, and I think you will like just the fact that it folds down into a small, a little bit bigger than a sleeping bag. It's ultra light, and you don't need to commit a lot of time to get to that sweat point. So for those of you that are going to ask, I would absolutely recommend doing if you're taking something that's going to take you to a sweat point, unless you're doing hot yoga and doing stretches purposefully because it's hot. I like doing my saunas after I've done my work. So whether that's my workout on my machine, my work in my yard, my house, I don't want to do anything after my sauna. So I always leave that till my bitter end of the day. But throughout the day, if I am having my back aches or my shoulder, my knee, this is where sometimes the wearables, the smaller infrared and red light products come in. So when I mentioned earlier, think about how you would see yourself incorporating. Share your care for those of you that might be just popping in. These are some of my ideas and some of the things I helped, businesses and my own clients with as far as incorporating technologies. I would love to hear, I don't have all the answers by any means. So, maybe there's something that you're doing, sometimes maybe you switch gears, you did this forever and ever, and you tried this and it was even better than what you were doing before. So if you do have some self-care tips, whether you're using any Lifepro tools or not, I'd love to hear some feedback for others to benefit from those comments. And if you are using Lifepro tools, what are they? Why do you use them? And, fitness aside, this isn't about weight loss and getting all toned today. Today's International Self-Care Day. So a lot of you, especially those of you that have been using your plates your guns, some of these therapies for a longer period. A lot of times, maybe fitness aspiration was the goal, but you're always pleasantly surprised with some of the things that you're getting benefit from that you didn't even expect. So if you have something that you would like to share, please let me know. I'm certainly going to hop in here quick and check in on my questions and see if there are any. Give me a second here. Okay. So who do I have here with me today? I have, I've already said hello to Pamela. Hello. Hi, Wanda. Nice to see you again. I know I always screw it. It's Urquhart, right? Am I saying that last name right? I'll get it one of these days. Hello, Connie. Hello, Rev Pam Ronner. I'm gonna saying hi first, and now I'm gonna go back because I actually do have some questions. And for those of you that have maybe patiently been waiting for me to stop rambling, or if you're joining me right now and you do have questions, please feel free to post those now. I'm gonna start going through these. I hope Pam is okay on the train. She can watch this on a recorded basis. For any of you that are joining me today, if you are not aware, the reason I nag you when I post these to select going or interested is you'll get a notification if I change a time or a day. But if for some reason you can't join, you can go into that notification or the event itself, and the recording is right there when you're done. So it's a quick way to get to the recording after the fact if you'd rather watch it on a recorded basis. Wanda says, I just got this and need to start using it. What did you get? I don't know what I was talking about when you made that comment. Let me know. Maybe you're talking the VibraPulse or the Sauna. They're both newer products. So let me know what you just got, Wanda. Reverend Pam, I'm assuming it's Reverend Pam, but it says Rev Pam. Can you use these on replaced joints for therapy? Absolutely. All of the technologies today, perhaps with the exception of the massage gun, there's no such thing in my world as a contraindication. A contraindication, and think of the word, if you break it into two pieces, it's an indication. And it's an indication to seek further clarity. Lifepro is an equipment supplier, and they're not a medical company. They're not there to give you medical advice. They're not spending 12 to 14 hours a day supporting people using them in the same fashion that maybe therapists and trainers like myself are. So experience and science sometimes meet in the middle. And even though the science is there, it's kind of hard to know, well, it says that it's okay to use with replaced joints, but how do I use it? So the risk with joint replacements, first with the vibration plate is more understanding what your amplitude is. Oscillating movement is the best movement, especially, if balance is a concern, that's going to fix that up real quick, like right away. Regular use will make it a longer term benefit. But standing really wide with your feet when you have new joints or weak joints or deficiencies, we see in the pictures and a lot of people talking online, oh, I stood really wide and I went 10 minutes. And most people are absolutely fine. But if you're not running regularly, if impact is a problem for you, reduce the foot placement. And if you're in poor health, or you're recovering from something, or you're just fearful, think functional. You don't run across the floor with your feet as wide as possible. Stand with the feet about hip width apart. Make sure those knees are bent. And a little bit of a faster speed on your vibration plate is going to be more soothing, less chopping, less destabilizing feeling, less choppy. It's a better starting point when you've had joint replacements. I'm not sure if it's both, and it doesn't matter how many you've had. There's not, no, you can't use it if you have 3, but not 4. Nothing like that. It's just understanding more where you physically are starting and doing appropriate time and intensity on whatever those exercises are. If you're fearful, or even if it's recent and maybe you're just not able to bear weight yet, you could start seated on a stool. So maybe it was a hip replacement. There's nothing wrong with the feet and the knees. And a lot of times if you have had surgery or replacement on one side, the other side's doing double time. It's carrying all the extra weight and doing all the extra work. So there are ways I've covered in a few sessions of how to minimize head vibes or distribute weight. You can use a step and put it right beside the plate and put half the body on, half the body off. There's all kinds of ways that we can make modifications that the therapists and the trainers understand. Lifepro doesn't spend the hours making these modifications, and so, and they have to be responsible. So if there is a joint replacement issue or something recent, yes, absolutely, it should be considered a contraindication. But understanding that a contraindication means have a discussion with your doctor or your care provider, and not necessarily, can I use a vibration plate? Again, it's how you use it. It's like going to your doctor and saying, can I be active? He's not going to say yes or no. He's going to say, well, what do you want to do? Are you playing high impact football, or you talk about, just go walking a K or two with your dog? So being active, exercising is too general. What does that mean? Same with self-care. Self-care, you can overdo self-care. You can over massage. You can do too much circulation. So you want to make sure with joint replacements, you're just not doing more than your body's ready for. If you overdo it, it's going to kind of be the same effects as over exercising. So you're probably going to be tired and a little bit sore the next day. But modification and understanding how to modify for your tolerance, your preferences, and what feels good for that particular area of experience. So let me see who else is here that had a question. I hope that made sense to you, and you can certainly let me know on that, Rev Pam. Wanda says she has the belt. So your question was, I just got this and need to start using it. Wanda, I'm not sure if you're on one of my groups or if you're here just with Lifepro and me. Starting on a red light belt, just like a vibration plate. You want to ease your body into some of these treatments, especially if you're using, if you're dealing with any contraindications. The only one I want you to be really cognizant of with light therapy is if you are photosensitive. Sometimes if you're taking medications or certain skin types, just tend to be a little bit more sensitive to the light sources. So be moderate on your time and the intensity. Don't crank it up to highest heat possible and go for 30 minutes and think it's something you got to suck it up. You can't really overdo red light. I know that Lifepro is going to say, yes, you should max 30 minutes a day, but do you limit how much you're allowed to be outside when the sun's shining upon you? If you're out there too long, you might get a little bit of a sunburn, but these don't have UV, so you're not going to get a sunburn. You can overdo it. You're going to be tired. You may increase swelling. You're probably going to increase symptoms if you have any, but a conservative starting point is 15, maybe 30 minutes a day if you're not really dealing with any health concerns. And if you do want to do more time, smaller, more frequent sessions, use them more often as opposed to one big long session first time out. And it depends what you're using it for. If it's pain relief, I really don't like to put restrictions, especially if it's helping you out. But get creative. You can wrap it around the knees, the hips. I showed you a few examples. But whatever you do try, stick with it for a few sessions, kind of give your body a chance to go, okay, I get it. Before if you change your settings and do a whole bunch of different things every time and something works, it becomes hard to, well, what was it? Was it this or was it that? Same if you have a setback or you overdid something. If you're throwing a whole bunch of new things into the mix right off the bat, was it the machine? Was it the red light? Was it the sauna? You want to make sure you kind of understand how your body adapts and evolves with each individual technology before you start combining them and potentially overdoing it or not being able to, you want to repeat what you did when you're making a cake, right? So, be mindful of the combination. You've got a bit of experience with each of them. I hope that makes sense. What else? So yes, you can use, I assumed you were talking about the vibration plate. That would be the spookier one. With joint replacements, any of the technologies are generally fine. The massage gun is another one that sometimes people say, oh, no, you can't use a massage gun with a joint replacement. Well, not the way that I said you shouldn't. If you're using it to drill the heck out of your hip joint after you just got, no, that's probably, but you could use it softly and brush the skin surface to accelerate that circulation, the lymph, the sensitivity, the nerves. There's all kinds of benefits that vibration's been around for 4,000 years. The Egyptians used to tap copper rods against broken bones to accelerate healing. It's nothing foreign to our body, but we have a tendency to overdo it. So especially
for International Self-Care Day, our topic today, less is more, less intense and more often, less time and more frequently. So these are some of my new little words I've come up to nag you and plant myself in your self-conscious. So when it comes to self-care, the biggest thing you can do is just be mindful. Don't beat yourself up so much for what you aren't doing and focus on what you are and can do. So maybe it's just a couple minutes, shake it on your vibration machine, or, maybe you're enjoying your red light belt on your low back or your shoulder as you drive to work. You can plug it into a USB. You can use it while you're driving. It's awesome. And maybe when you get home, you just want to shut everything off, leave it all in the kitchen, and go hide in your sauna for 15 to 20 minutes and just shut the world out and get grounded on life at home and give yourself and your family and whatever lights you up some of your good energy, and it'll reciprocate. So thank you for joining me today. I talk a lot about self-care, but many, as I said, are dealing with chronic care, which is another whole set of care. But there's lots of ways you can combine these tools to not only manage those symptoms, reduce them if you are dealing, with a diagnosis of some type, but they also make you move and feel better. So that self-care is a critical tool, not only in your overall health, but of that mindset. If you're in a better mood and you're feeling better, things are going to work better for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next week, maybe with a new product launch. I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for something red lighty, very exciting, to arrive next week, but I'll keep you in suspense until I know whether it's going to arrive here in time. Otherwise, I do plan to be here next Thursday, and I'll probably update the event with some details a day or two prior. Hey, Dave, nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining me. If you missed it, I just rambled away for 45 minutes. I don't know how I talk so much. Maybe it's all the energy I get from these awesome tools at Lifepro. If you're watching this on a recorded basis and you have a question for me, tag me at Debby with a Y. I didn't get too many comments here. Kathy just piped in. I love the vibrations. I have the Rumblex Plus. It's interesting that many PTS don't know about these plates. I'm interested in red light belt, listening to know you. I did a big video where I rambled forever, but every red light belt that Lifepro had, I had out on the table, the new PEMF one, the infratone, because there's a lot of different features, and Lifepro is responding to what you are asking. I want this color and I want this cut. So they're responding to consumer demand, which is you guys, the members. But as new technologies come out, or evolution on technology, sometimes it's almost overwhelming comparing the differences, and I really try to simplify it. There's 2 or 3 key things I want you to think about, and how this is, where are you going to use this, how am I going to incorporate this into my lifestyle, more than being excited by all the the new features. Because sometimes, for me, as I said today, I prefer a corded belt because I'm usually just sitting on my couch anyways. I like the concept of the battery and the pack, and if I traveled more, I'd probably take advantage of that. But I'm also one of those people that's really I'm really bad for not charging my stuff. So there's been a couple times I've gone to do a red light session with my battery pack. Of course, I didn't charge it, and so I like the corded. I'm a little old school. I like to plug it in and push a button, but that's just my preference, and they happen to be less expensive. Those of you that are here, let me know your self-cares. Share your care. Tell me what works for you. It may be a tool. It may be just, a breathing exercise. What's made an impact on your self-care and keeping you doing it regularly. Let's keep the comments going, and let's get this post going to the top of the feed for Self-Care Awareness Day. And there are some good deals on site. So if you're looking at any things I've talked about today, Roseanne did a session this weekend as well. There's some cool new products out, at least up to 30% off site wide right now. So go check that out if you are in the US. And I've been surfing on Amazon. So whether you're in Canada, the UK, parts of Europe, and the US, there are some items available on Amazon that are not available on site. Some are on both. So make sure you compare them both places and see where you're getting the best bang for your buck. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Don't work too hard, guys. Thanks so much.